Well, there's no good way for me to organize my thoughts right now, so I'm just going to make this a spam video about talking about Terraria and regret the fact that I don't have my printer set up somehow, and every attempt to set it up has failed miserably, so I haven't been able to print the notepad I made full of ideas about Terraria. There's a lot of things I wanted to talk about, but now I'm going to have to remember them, so you have to forgive me if this is a completely disorganized mess. I'm too lazy to come up with a solution. I'm just not a good person like that. Anyways, I'm going to try to think this through very carefully. Terraria is one of those games where it's so much fun and interesting, and yet the whole time I'm playing, I can't stop thinking to myself, "Wow, this is unnecessary amount of work. Wow, this is taking 2 more hours than it should take." You know, why is this so difficult? Why is managing all these items frustrating? Why is tin ore in my inventory? The hell do I need with 2 umbrella hats? And I have to sit there clicking all the time. And you think to yourself, the first time you play it, or maybe every time if you're one of those energy filled people, that it's not that big of a deal. If you want to make potions, it's not that big of a deal that it takes a bunch of weird random items and then it all has varying time. It's like it makes sense that a Gills potion is just fucking 3 minutes or whatever, and then the flipper potions, what? Hold on, I'm gonna have to find the exact example. Where are you, nerds? Flipper potion, 8 minutes. Alright. The potion for breathing underwater, 2 minutes. Takes a water leaf and a coral, and the other one takes a shiver thorn and a water leaf. What? Why do they have different times? Oh, sweet. Mining potion has the same time. That makes sense. Sonar potion, 4 minutes. And then we go to crate potion, another fishing potion. This is 3 minutes. Why? Because they hate you. Ah, yes, fishing potion. That's 8 minutes. Okay, fine. That makes perfect sense, because we all know that 8 is divided by 3 after you have 3 eights. And then it's divided 8 times. Okay, hunter potion's 5 minutes. I don't know why, but it is. Heart reach is 8 minutes. That's kind of cool. Regen's 5. Alright. Okay. Swiftness is 4. What? What are these arbitrary numbers? Why is the magic power potion so expensive and lasts 2 minutes? All because it's 20% increased magic damage. Oh my gosh. The potion that's completely necessary that I'm going to have to keep making a ton of is going to cost me, where the only expense is stars. Because every other potion material, you just make a big line and dig it all up with a staff of regrowth at random and chuck them in all one chest next to this, and then it's like, I guess I can make these potions. All you do is just go and get an excess of a material. It's really kind of nonsensical, and it makes potions pretty much useless until you get any individual platform. It doesn't make any sense. This whole game is full of these really jank, weird, specific things that just eat your brain away. And a lot of people don't realize it because a lot of the kind of people who play this game have an excess of energy and time, and I'm not saying all of them. I'm not saying even most of them, but a lot of them. So they can put all this excess and unnecessary effort into building really pretty, beautiful, complicated houses that ultimately don't mean anything besides just look, it's a pretty house and it's cool. I'm sure glad that I'm emotional and I'm attached to it and I think it's so cool and neat. But some people like myself only care about gameplay and interaction, and we care about something's look when it's related to gameplay and interaction. I don't much care for this fish that shoots crystals that much, especially since it doesn't shoot out of its mouth. It's just kind of weird. It's I'm shooting it while holding a fish at people. Yeah, I don't get it. And you can't even appreciate most of the graphics in this game because they're so tiny and in a corner unless you change your resolution to be really awkward. And if you shrink your resolution, you're at a huge disadvantage from everybody else. Alright, another thing I wanted to talk about is their obsession with aesthetics and having just so many different types of um, basically sawmills, but the slime one and the glass one and the ice one and the bone one. What? It's like it's kind of annoying that they spent all that time putting in all those like ridiculous graphics, but you know some people, like I mentioned before, have that enormous amount of energy and they want to build crazy complex houses because you know that's their goal with the game is to basically play MS Paint and they have the kind of friends who care. But you know, at the very least, what they could have done is just make it like chains that you walk up and add to your sawmill so that it's all one central item instead of a big chunk where I have to have a solidifier here, have this here, have the ice one here, the loom here, the sky mill, the bone welder, the honey dispenser. You know, why not just make it all one thing? But I mean, is it that bad to just upgrade it? Because I mean, it's all pretty much the same purpose. But whatever. You know, why don't they have a way for me to blacklist an item that I don't want anymore? Like if I don't want seeds in my inventory and my friend's a troll and picked up a blowpipe and is just putting seeds everywhere, why can't I just blacklist seeds so anytime I walk by them I either don't pick them up or better yet I just delete them? That would be convenient and it would save a lot of hassle, but no. The people who made this game, Relogic, like, they're smart in so many ways, but that's, I think, one of their downsides is they don't know what it feels like to be just really tired and stupid and only want to deal with a certain amount of things. You just get overwhelmed with so many like items and like at first you get there's all these creature statues and you're excited and collecting them, and then you find out later it's like actually pretty much like they make the enemy, but the enemy doesn't drop anything because that balances out the fact that it can spawn the enemy really fast instead of just lowering its spawn rate so it's not effective than just going to the area, but could be more convenient for placement. No, we're just gonna make it so that like, you know, jellyfish, that's fair and balanced. I have 1,000 glow sticks and get a 1.5 gold accessory half like a few of the times. You know, sharks dropping their fins and diving, oh, that's fair and balanced. But the 1% chance of you getting murdered by Medusa, unless you have a proper trap set up, and getting her Medusa head, that's messed up. And she's not even the one I was upset about. Like, it feels like statues would have been a lot better, more interesting, if they had like, you know, they're rare to find, but when you do find them, they have a functionality, and that functionality matters. Like if I find the slime statue, which this still works, which I'm happy about, although I haven't found one, I can go, wow, now I can spawn lots and lots of slimes and leave them in a lava pit until I get a slime staff. Oh wait, if I'm playing on expert mode, that's actually useless. But hey, I can have an infinite supply of gel. Well, I guess with all the AFK farming you do with minions, because you kind of have to, you already get way too much gel and have to constantly trash it from your inventory. Ugh. I swear, I could just go on a giant list of these things, and then there's fucking the way I have to build houses super funky at the beginning because like they make you really bad at building early on, but that's when building matters the most. You have to make these really silly homes, like this basket house that Meeper made, and they don't make it easy to replace what you did. You have to rebuild all over again if you want nice looking houses, but they're already functional, so it's like, why would I bother? If I bother, it's like, yeah, it'll look nicer, but I barely spend all my time here anyways. All I had to do in the beginning, that was a lot of work, was dig this giant pit. But as soon as you get the demo, man, isn't that hard. The only hard part about this is filling in any nearby like cave areas, which they could have easily solved if they had had the dirt rod be more like an MS Paint bucket with dirt or something. Like where you could hold it down and spend mana to like fill in dirt as it's going. You don't. They didn't even have to like make it something complicated where it would have some algorithm for finding its way in. It could have literally just been an expanding square that wouldn't fill in dirt if there was already something there. So I could click here, it would start filling in dirt outwardly in like a big chunk at a time, and then like when it hits the sunstone and the torches and the banners, or the sunplate blocks, it'll just skip those, and then the dirt will keep filling in here. Sure, it could be a troll item. You could make it expensive, but I mean, like, there's an enormous amount of troll. I could throw one TNT and destroy this entire house. That has to be built from scratch. But you don't have to worry about that in this kind of game. You shouldn't have to. You should be playing with the kind of people where it's going to be okay. And there's items like the ice rod, for example. Really interesting item. Theoretically, it could be amazing. But the skill, in order to have the skill level that you would need in order to like smoothly make use of this item, you would have to invest an enormous amount of time practicing using it. Because as soon as you add the like need to use it while you're moving, suddenly you can't place what you want. It's like struggling here. I, like they add this weird thing where it like makes a plus sign for some reason when you like sit here. If you do it at the right angle, like if you're this way, it'll place a horizontal one, and if you're this way, it'll place a vertical platform if you hold at the right timing. Which is kind of neat. You can use that, make it convenient to land. But it's it's not as useful as it could be if it was like you start here and then you can drag the ice along or something. So you could easily, because when am I going to actually want to place all these separate blocks? Every time you use the ice rod, the real use for it, you would want them to all be connected, right? That's what I think anyways. So why can't I just drag it along? Because they didn't want to, because it's a jank item. This whole game is full of these jank things that like could be easily functionable, but then like in order to use them the way that you want to, it requires an excessive amount of work and thought that is just like almost unacceptable. Then they added a great item and it just made me really happy. Like uh, you have to turn left to like change which axis is locked. Oh, see, yeah, I'm happy. Actually, I look more like I'm from Undertale, but you get it. Um, this item makes placing wires so easy. You can just like, though there is a problem where if you pull it for too long, eventually it just automatically lets go. So making a teleporter on a large world is a nightmare because you have to like stop every like few sections and do it again and again. But it's still a lot easier than it was, where I had to use featherfall potions, constantly float up and down while placing it along the line. This is great. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This makes sense. It took me all of 5 minutes to understand how this worked. I just pressed buttons, realized there was a right-click functionality which most items do not have in this game. Saw that there's just scissors. Okay, cool, cool, cool. I can destroy all this stuff now. I can get lots of wire from traps everywhere. Oh, there's something new on the left of my corner. I can decide whether or not I want to always see wire. I can remove this ruler that was bothering me at first. I just found it immediately and turned it off. It was great. But they hate you. Like, oh, sweet, a bottomless water bucket. That's another great item. Except that it's hard mode only. Right when you should be done fishing, because most of the time when people fish, or at least from my experience, it's while they're waiting for friends, because you can't go into hard mode yourself. If you go into hard mode without your friends, they're gonna be upset. So you just fucking sit there fishing with your golden fishing rod and your master bait. Ha ha ha! What a joke. And then this item that could help you so much with making the fishing pools you need to get like the quest fish and stuff is not available until hard mode, when like He's like, okay, so this will help me now only because I may want a cell phone, I guess. But why couldn't I have just gotten it earlier when it mattered more? When there were quest fishes that I wanted to do in pre-hard mode. Because once it reaches hard mode, I usually have such like ridiculous pickaxe. I just like find a water pool, even like a crummy one, and just start like digging at random until it gets filled on its own. Because I have to make a pit anyways. And it's not that hard to just bring one bucket and fill it with water and do it. So if it's not that hard to do that, why can't I just do something that's just a little bit easier as a nice little reward? Why is he constantly trying to give me seaweed planters and anchors that, like, only a few people want that? A very select few people that love to make Terraria related impressive stuff so they can post it on Terraria Reddit in the forums and be like, hey guys, look what I made, praise me for it. And like, I mean, they make cool stuff. I'm not trying to knock that, but it feels like this game became way too fixated on that. Oh, gosh, I know I'm on such a terrible rant. I wish I could really just pick out super specific stuff a lot better. One of the other things now I remember, pots. This game and pots, it kills me. It's like they are so satisfying to break, like amazingly satisfying, right? I have to find some because I broke a lot of them. But the items they give you, unless you're in hell, are usually pretty unsatisfying. You're like always grabbing rope and like a few coins. I don't know why that is. Money in this game doesn't feel satisfying. Even if you like suddenly got a platinum, it's like yes, platinum. But in the back of your head, you can't stop thinking about the fact that you'll lose all that platinum reforging one weapon later on in just moments. Like there's no organization to how reforging works, so money doesn't feel satisfying. Pots should be dropping maybe some more. I don't know. That's a tough call. I don't think there's really items in the game that pots can drop that I want because the whole game's still jank and off balanced. It drops arrows that like I'm really not that interested in because if I want arrows, I can craft tons of them real easily. It drops a rope that I only need at the beginning of the game, which is nice, but then later, right after I get a grappling hook, feels meaningless. It would have been better for me to just be able to craft rope. Oh wait, you can because there's cobwebs. And one cobweb equates to like, what, 3 ropes or something? I don't remember. It was really easy to make them. So it made rope from pots almost pointless. The recall potions were great to get out, but potions are great to get out in general. But the way potions work in this game is another thing I have to argue about, where it's like, what they have this vague cooldown. It's like, okay, now I have to wait 45 seconds. I can barely tell. I have to constantly look over and check the fact that I can't use them. Why even have a cooldown on potions? I remember playing before that point, and of course it was a problem because you could literally just spam heal, right? You could beat Skeletron on the first night by just collecting enough lesser potions, which in its own way was a bit satisfying. It's kind of fun to do, but putting that aside, all you have to do with a potion system to make it both satisfying and sensible, so you don't feel like this is arbitrary, oh, I'm so full thing where it's like, I'm full but my legs are missing. Maybe I should still drink. No, I have to wait 2 more seconds exactly. Instead, you can do a potion system where you're just glugging it, and based on the quality of the potion, you heal a certain amount as you're glugging. So lesser potions will in total, there may be only like, I don't know, 300 health inside of it, but you only heal it at like a rate of 10 per second. So you have to sit there chugging it. Or even if you're running around chugging it, it's still dangerous. It won't be enough to help you if you don't have the items you need to win. That way there's no arbitrary limitation, and in fact, it doesn't matter if it makes things easier because this is a game where you get hit. And I think expert mode forgot that, where it's like, expert mode's designed for people who know how to place all the cheesy blocks and like make every boss fight easy mode because they know how the boss will get screwed up by the specific block placements. I'm glad they made alpha arrows not hurt you. That was really dumb. But rocket launchers still hurt you. And that makes them really hard to work with because they don't do that much more damage overall. They just do area damage, which is dealt with different bullet types anyways. So rocket launchers and such have virtually no purpose. Proximity mine you can't detonate on your own, and it becomes really hard to see for some reason. They thought it's like, oh yeah, it'll be super sneaky for PvP, and it's like, yeah, it'll be sneaky because you'll blow yourself up and forget where you put them if you're dumb like me. But that's not even that big of a problem so much as just the fact that they don't work that well. Uh, all the magic missile rainbow rod items are pretty much useless. I mean, they're cool, and if you do the right setup, you can theoretically do the most DPS, like as a joke. Like, look at how fast I run. I'm just gonna throw rainbows. It's not really a good place to do this. If you press your mount button on the minecart, you get on it. So I'm gonna see if I can't get the right speed for this. See, now I can build up all these rainbow rod shots. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's gonna hit something and it's gonna hook and die. It looks so cool and so trippy. But at the same time, you have to realize that with the way the bosses work, there's almost no way for me to guarantee this unless I invest an enormous amount of time that I could easily just invest in getting a better magic weapon. That happens all the time in this game. I love the money trough, but at the same time it bothers me just because it's like the consequence of death in this game doesn't exist, and if you do medium core it's too hard because you're dropping all your items so easily. There's just so many things that you can avoid every death in this game by being super duper absolutely careful, but that's not even fun. So as soon as you have this, it's like, oh no, I have to travel back. Well, at least I never lose any of my money. Traveling back is a pretty annoying, decent consequence, but I remember a long time ago when I was playing with my brother, he was kind of annoyed because it wasn't just the travel back that was annoying, it's fighting enemies because enemies have no satisfying value to them most of the time. Every time I encounter a zombie, it's a chore. I just want to hop past them and ignore them because they're like, oh, I'm gonna kill you, and it's like, you can't kill me even if I hold perfectly still. You can't do what's required. Why are you even coming at me? Thanks for 65 copper, or maybe a zombie arm or a shackle to fill my inventory with that I have to trash later because it's covering it. It's just, why can't... I feel so dumb and annoying, and I'm sorry about it. But why can't developers realize what they're doing? Realize that something's tedious or unnecessary or annoying. I don't know if it's just because when you become a developer, or if you are the kind of person who becomes a developer, you have a strong work ethic, so it's more straightforward for you, or at least you have some amount of work ethic to just do work in a game and not be bothered by it. But people don't realize that it does bother them, and it's hard for them to tell until they reach that point where they're like, they don't want to play again. Like, if I ask a lot of my friends, hey, let's play a round of Terraria again, they just instantly feel this, because all they're not thinking about anything too specific, but their mind just goes over all the really boring parts of the game, and then none of these satisfying things are that satisfying because there's nothing new for them to do with it. I got a strong weapon. I shoot strong weapon. I got a rainbow rod. I don't use rainbow rod because it's useless. I got an ice rod. No new tricks for me to do with this because if I want to learn any tricks with it, there's an enormous amount of practice that I would have to put in. There's just not that many new approaches that you can do that you didn't do before. The newest thing that I've ever done is just put my armor inside of my money trough so I can swap easier. But even that adds an inconvenience. They need to add chest sorting that is actually helpful because the way it is makes it so that you feel more encouraged to just spam your items everywhere, because trying to organize it takes so much more time than just a couple times when you're looking for items. Because so often I'll have items in here that I never come for again, but I put them in there just in case. So it's easier for me to just like check 4 chests than to like run back and forth and are all around quick stacking and using the quick stack nearby inventory. It's like, oh man, it sorts my inventory. Why is masturbate in the same category as tattered cloth? It doesn't even make sense. I was going to at one point go, hey, I'm gonna use these at the same time. I'm gonna go put blue things in the blue chest, and I was like, no, don't be silly. Pixie dust don't go in the same chest as a golden fishing rod. Why is it the same color? Why is that's not sorting? That's just like lining up items that are similar. Just random categorization. I could go on for hours like this. I really could. And I feel I I don't know how many people either enjoy it or are annoyed by it. If you do enjoy it, please let me know, because then I could just make videos of me doing that all the time, nonstop. I could play Overwatch and sit there the whole time talking about this kind of stuff. Maybe not the whole time, but a lot of the time. But I feel like for the most part, it's annoying for most people to listen to because they do enjoy themselves and can enjoy themselves, while I refuse to enjoy myself because I want to recognize all the things that can prevent that sort of satisfaction. Anyways, this is a really long video. This is a really stupid video. I'm sorry. My dream would be that someone realizes what I'm talking about and like either asks me to like analyze something for them or just learns to do it themselves. But ultimately this video is going to be viewed by like 30 people and probably overall just like unimportant and ignored. But I wanted to do it for myself anyways because it feels good to just like know that I've said what I wanted to say. So I was really like I already said sorry a million times. I'm sorry. And I just said sorry about saying sorry. Bye.